Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Highly Productive. We have world famous DJ Cray Sounds in the building.
Hello. Oh my gosh, Cray Sounds. I haven't heard that in a while.
I know.
Ooh.
That you got to call you from the OG shit, right?
Honestly, like I was trying to make ads.
Oh, your mic.
I'm like talking to no one.
Yeah.
I was trying to look for ads when I first started making music, and I was like, Cray Music was taken by someone, and I was like, what can I do? And it couldn't be 4 letters at the time, so I was like, oh my gosh, what can I do? Because Cray Music's taken.
You couldn't be 4 letters at the time on Twitter? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. They just like
everything was
5
taken.
or more. Yeah, something like that. There's like, it has to be more characters. So I was like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? And I was like, Cray Official is taken. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I was like, another word for music is sounds. Cray Sounds. But then people started thinking my name was Cray Sounds.
Yeah.
I just went with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's usually how I sometimes I catch, still to this day, calling my teammates, friends by their gamer tags. Like even right now, mutual friend of ours, Mike, I called him Diesel. And it's like not a weird thing, but also like a weird thing. Because it's not like a nickname that people give you. You actually pick that one and that's your nickname.
Also, I feel like in the streamer world, like you meet streamers online via their and sometimes their names are like real names. Like you like Jericho Tucker. So it's like sometimes you're like, oh, that's just his name, but you just assume. And then you find out that
I call him Jericho. I don't call him Tucker.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like then you meet them finally and they're like, my name's not that. And you're like, oh.
Sorry, my brain says it is.
But they already know, and then it's too late, and then you have to just get called that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
So tell me, where does your story begin?
Oh my gosh, my story begins. I was born in America. I was born in Arizona, and then I moved to Canada when I was 3. So I was basically, I'm a dual citizen. I'm both.
Okay, yeah.
But I basically say I'm Canadian because I was basically raised there, like from my developmental years of in adulthood. And then I turned 18 and moved to Orange County for school at Chapman. And then right after that, I was like, I guess I'm going to try this music thing. And I'm already in California. Might as well just go up to LA. And then that's kind of where.
How did, obviously, many people who are creatives have this sense of like, oh, I would love to do that for like a living, or I'm actually going to see how far I can get doing something that I like.
Right.
At what point did that happen for you?
I think my family always says like they couldn't imagine me doing any other job than this, which is funny. And I think I went to college really not knowing, kind of lost, not knowing what I wanted to do, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I tried a few different majors and I was just kind of lost, and I just really didn't know, nothing was clicking. And I just I had no passions that were I want to be a lawyer. I had nothing like that. So I was just very much lost.
What did you sign up for as far as your?
I did. Sociology was the major I finished with, but I did communications. I tried PR a little bit. I tried business. I tried a little bit of everything because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I have a few learning disabilities too, which made it even harder to figure out what I wanted to do. And I've always been in the music scene. When I was raised in Canada, the drinking age is 19, so it's a lot younger. So I was definitely at the club earlier. I had a ton of fake IDs. I was working the door. I was working guest list. I was around the DJs all the time. I was doing writers. So I felt like I was always in the music scene. And so it kind of just felt close to home. And I was in California, and I was like, this is kind of the place to start that. Maybe I can just be a manager or something. Mm-hmm. I was like, maybe, my degree will help me learn how to be a proper manager in the space. And my mom was like, if you want to be a manager, you have to learn a little bit of something to put an edge on you. Learn some music, get some terminology under your belt so you just feel a little more confident. Mm-hmm. So in my spare time, I was like, okay, cool. My boyfriend at the time, ex-boyfriend now, but really good friend of me and Tucker's, he was like, okay, I'll help you learn. And so I kind of just started learning. I love trap music. I love rap music. So I was just kind of experimenting, putting some stuff out under Cray, my Cheney Ray, Cray alias, just for fun. No, I truly had no
intention.
I wasn't Mom, this is my career. I was I'm just gonna do this for shits, and I did it, and people liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, shit, I think I gotta do it.
So, being around music and musicians and all that, and DJs, was it ever a conversation? How do you pick in music? Right, so broad. You could be a cello player, you could be a drummer, you could be a singer, you could be a producer. At what point or what gravitated you towards the tables?
Honestly, I just think that was the scene that got me into this whole industry. In Canada, EDM was just really popping off, and Granville Street was just slammed, and Celebrities Nightclub had every DJ there ever. And I kind of was just listening to trap music all the time and kind of just fell in love with the entire EDM genre. Just kind of blew my mind. It was so cool to me that everyone was getting together, and the candy, and it was just so cool. And so I think I just gravitated to what I did when I was a kid. And so I was trap music is my favorite music to make, favorite music to listen to. So I'm I might as well just start making that. Mm-hmm. And it was the easiest for me at the time because it was no lyrics were involved, no vocals were involved. So it's kind of a really good beginner start for me just to do simple 808s and get it done. And obviously with time it's evolved. Like now I just basically don't do that anymore. I sing now and play live, which is a crazy
transition.
I did not know I was going to do that. But I think just as I grow up, I think your aspirations grow up too. And so I think you're just
your skills also, right? Like
I'm just rolling with it. And weirdly enough, gaming came into it because I couldn't pay my bills as a musician. As anyone knows, it's one of those, you have to have money to start jobs, and I wasn't getting any gigs. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to pay rent? And my parents were like, you got to figure it out. Like this is, time. So I applied to Target and Walmart next door to my apartment in LA, did not get the jobs. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Called Tucker. I was just venting. He goes, well, you play video games every day. He was just turn on the camera.
How did you meet Tucker?
Tucker was a fan of the music. It's like, because Tucker's so deep in the music and people don't realize like he's been in it like day one. We were on the same SoundCloud Reddit forums, like looking at the underground of underground. Like that's what we were doing. And so he was a fan of our music. So we just met and we immediately clicked. We had like a 4-hour dinner and we just like, me and Tucker are so loud. So we were just like loud yelling at each other. And we were like, he's like, you just do it. Just do it. He's like, just try it. Just trust me. Just try it. You're funny. You love games. If you're not going to get a normal job, just try it. And I did. And it paid for all my music bills. So then I could just.
When did you start? And what game did you start with?
I started with Stardew Valley and Dead by Daylight were my 2 games. I think I started like kind of the similar, like a year or 2 after my music career, I started streaming. So it's been a long time. I have some like 5-year-old subs.
Jeez.
And I just like continued it. And it's kind of a unique situation because I'm not a full-time streamer. I'm a part-time streamer, always have been. But it still works. And my fans love it. And it was so important for me to be able to pay rent. And that's what helped me pay rent to keep music going. Because I at some point I had to be like, yo, wake up. Like real girl now, you have to get a job.
I think it happens like that a lot, right? Like you set out to do something and that passion doesn't necessarily have like the weight of being the only sole bearer of being able to make a living off of that. So your secondary passion, gaming, right?
Yes.
You were gaming, that allowed you to do that.
It did. It was
and
lucky.
It helped for that. Yeah.
I tell fans all the time, like I'm not the type of person who's like quit everything and follow your dream and like if you work hard enough it'll happen. I'm not like that. I'm the opposite. I'm like that everything that is that's gonna happen is gonna happen. Like if you love gaming and you want streaming to be a job for you, like start as a hobby, be smart, save, like don't just drop all your eggs and quit your job off the bat and just start gaming because it doesn't it's a slow roll, like it takes time to make money and it's like scary for people to, especially different creators, to almost lie. Like they said that, I've seen so many creators say, I came from nothing. I worked so hard. My dream, I put 100% into my dream and I made it. And they don't tell you what the privilege they had along with that. Maybe their parents helping them. Maybe they had an inheritance. Maybe they had a second. Those things are important to tell people because I don't want to ever send someone on this like make-believe dream that I just somehow made as a content creator. I was so lucky and my parents helped me for the first year after graduation. And they told me, if this is not going to work for you, if gaming's not going to work, like you're going to have to figure it out. And I'm so lucky to have that privilege and it let me be able to try streaming and it made it work. But I don't ever want to tell anyone like, just quit everything you're doing and just do the dream because sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
I think Valkyrie just got into, like apparently people were mad at the way that she answered that, she was being real instead of discouraging, but everybody turned into a discouraging thing. But everything that she said is the most common sense shit that people should know, right? Don't quit your job until
you're ready.
Until you're able to pay your bills.
Absolutely.
Like don't do it. Like there's no need for you to put yourself. There's no need to put yourself in a position to hate something that you love doing already. Because that's
also,
what would happen.
Just in all honesty, like my love for gaming, I still have such a deep love for gaming, but I don't really game in my personal time anymore. Like you do lose a little bit of the magic when you choose a job that you loved.
Yeah.
It's like
you want to take a break
exactly.
From it.
It's like anything. It's like also when I want to stream, I want to play video games not on stream, I feel guilty. I'm like, why am I doing this when I'm not live for my fans? Like, why am I doing it? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, definitely lose that magic for it. But, I'm so incredibly lucky. I said it yesterday on the stream. Like, we're so lucky to do what we love. It's such a gift. It's such a privilege. And I tell everyone, like, start as a hobby. And if you control it takes over and you can start paying rent without it, then that's when you quit your job and you go full in.
Yeah. And you get to do 2 things, right? That are your passion and that you can make a living off of, which is good, but the second one allowed for the first passion to happen.
Absolutely.
Aside from that, is there anything else that you dabble in?
Like I do like influencing on social media. Like I feel like I've tapped into that space and like done ads and like done cool partnerships with brands and especially weed stuff. Other than that, no, just music, gaming, and just honestly being myself and just putting content out there. Just same old shit.
Cool. Any other like hobbies, passions outside of it?
I mean, I love reading books. I love smoking
Yeah.
weed. I'm trying to get better at cooking. My
Mhm.
boyfriend's the cook, the chef in the house. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better at that.
You know what's crazy? My
especially-
wife and I were just talking about that yesterday, and I was telling her how I'm like, I just love cooking, and you know, that's my thing.
That's the
It's
thing.
like my 5th, 6th passion that I have.
That's
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about, you know, finding the comfort zone and finding your, you know, you're cool.
yeah.
You know, Highly Productive is a podcast where the stigma that comes along with weed smoking that makes people lazy and all this stuff. Like, obviously, like I interview people who are very, very much focused on
Passionate
their
people.
on their passion and their work, right? Which is their passion. How has that helped you?
Oh my gosh, without weed, like I don't think I'd be able to be.
When did you start?
I mean, I obviously started in high school in Canada, but it was a very different game back then. As you know, it wasn't legal. I was smoking behind a Wendy's in a dumpster made out of like a Coke can, you know? So
Yeah.
the weed back then was definitely not the weed today. And so I did it back then. I didn't like it. It made me anxious, made me uncomfortable. It just wasn't for me. And then during COVID, I was just I have anxiety disorder and I was so anxious and I was like, you know what? I got to do something. Like this is probably the time for me to maybe dabble in weed. I'm assuming it makes you so lazy. I'm assuming all these, I'm like all the ideas in my head. I was like, you know, COVID, no, I can't go outside. This is when I can be lazy, not realizing how incredible weed is in general. And I basically started with edibles and then now it's like an everyday life thing. And it's like, I tell everyone, it's not even like I'm getting stoned. It's like almost just like mellowing me out to like be at a good level to work. And especially like in creative modes, like I've had such amazing creative spurts where I'm so high and just so focused and so like thinking about other things I never would think about. And it's really cool to have that different perspective.
Yeah.
Of course, there's days where I'm lazy on the couch. Like that's why we love weed. But there's also every other day where I'm working a job. I'm doing 9 jobs at once and I have 3 pets and like everything's getting done. So I'm like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
am I really
It's
lazy?
your coffee.
Yeah. Am I really lazy?
No. Well, no. And that's why I invited you, right? Like it's from a creative standpoint, you have to understand the fact that it does get you in a different, like the reason that I fell in love with cannabis in 1997 was because I wanted to draw. Immediately wanted to be like a little bit better at what I was already doing. And I could because I was in a different wavelength. So, you know, throughout my career, I've always smoked. So to me, it's that extra little bit of switch that allows me to be able to be that stressed out, you know?
Absolutely. And it's so cool how every person's experience with weed is so personal and so different. And like I use it to cope with my anxiety and I'm on medication. So it like really helps me relax and just become just steady, you know? And I don't want to do more medication. I don't want to go into anxiety. I really want to just be able to study. And weed has been the gift. And even like doctors looking at me going, absolutely, if weed is your choice, she goes, that's an amazing coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And I'm like, having a doctor say like, that's an awesome choice is like, whoa. When back in the day, it was like, you're a drug addict.
Yes.
You're going to jail.
Yeah. You mentioned on Twitter that you were diagnosed recently. You just got diagnosed recently.
Yes.
What made you, like, adults don't do that, like, nowadays. What made you, like, be that aware that you're like, you know what, let me get some professional
I feel
advice?
like, so when I had a pretty traumatic childhood and I had in my school, like I was really, really struggling and I couldn't figure it out. And they were like, at my school is pretty small. So they were just like, oh, she's just like, something's wrong with this girl. Like she just needs help. Like I couldn't do math. I couldn't listen. It was really hard for me to retain information during, it was just like, I couldn't do school. And so I was constantly taken out for school and tested. I got diagnosed with a slew of things, like 6 things, like ADHD, sensory processing disorder, auditory and visual processing disorder. So the way I see and hear things is just slower, how I process it. So we found out all these things, but back then it was very taboo. It was very, you're crazy. Like, let's put her in a room. She'll just be separate. Because in the 90s, it wasn't as, you know, accepted as it is today. And basically when I moved when I was 18, I'm like, I'm going to close this chapter of my life and not even look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to tell anyone I have ADHD. I'm not going to take my medication anymore. I'm just going to go be a normal adult.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it. I'm 18. I got this. So I went to college and I guess life just happened. And I didn't really realize until COVID that I could sit down and really look at my life and be like, why am I struggling still?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what are my diagnoses? So I made my mom ship me all my AAP. I had like this much of paperwork to look through and figure out my diagnoses and understand why I am the way I am. And I started figuring this out. And I started realizing that the more I learn about it, the better I can cope and function compared to just pretending it didn't exist. So COVID kind of made me just like take the time to look at it and reflect and see what's going on. And I was just like, you know what? I think I need to get another diagnosis because it's been so long and so much of the information has changed since the 90s. So my paperwork is outdated.
Yeah.
Why don't I just get it you know, a new,
technology's
yeah,
evolved,
exactly. Let's just get a new retest going on. Maybe my medication can change. Maybe I'm getting an adult, you know, things can change. So I went and did it, and, you know, surprise, surprise, no one was really surprised. Autism was diagnosed that day, and I was just like, damn. And it feels so much better to see it, accept it, and live it than hide and run from it. So I felt really empowered, and especially I have followers in a space of influence. I was like, I want to use this to bring people awareness and make people not feel alone either.
Yeah.
There's just an easy win.
Yeah. You're functioning, right? It gave you an artistic ability that you may not other have.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it's also learning about yourself
hand in hand. Yeah.
is so big. I think every time you learn something about yourself, it like unlocks you to be an even better person. And I'm like, I really believe in character development. I believe in every day we should work to be better. And so that's on that step, and that's on that step. And I'm really happy. And it made it easier for me to just accept myself.
Yeah. As a public person, public figure, obviously you get opportunities to be sponsored by all sorts of things, right? Drinks, makeup, whatever. When did the cannabis sponsorship start to come in?
Oh my gosh, literally, I feel like in COVID, I just started, you know, I'm so candid online. I feel like I'm really just, I have no filter online. So I just started really talking about how much I'm smoking weed, which my family was a little bit like, okay, whoa. At first they're a little scared, and now they're like, okay, because I like basically grain it into them how weed is not the way that you think weed is back in the day. You know, it's not this scary illegal gateway drug that, you know, the stigma that has been on it. And so I was just talking about it online so much. I was asking my followers too, like, what do you guys do? Like, what do you guys like? I'm so new to the space. Like, show me everything. And I'm not kidding you. Just from that, every weed brand reached out and was like, you don't understand. Like, influencers don't post about weed. People are still scared to post about it. People think it taints their image. You know what I mean? Like, I've lost jobs before because they see that I post cannabis, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that L. But I was just like, oh my gosh, like this space, like these people are like itching to work with influencers who also love weed for not the general reason you think, not the lazy I'm on the couch eating munchies weed, but like the actual creatives, you know what I mean? Like all those weed markets were like, please, like be a catalyst for this. And I was like, absolutely. And it just started. Like it was just that easy. And I feel like.
Were you concerned though?
What?
Were you concerned that it may lose you business?
I mean, concerned, sure. I knew it would. And at the end of the day, what am I going to do? I'm never, ever going to fabricate myself online for money. Like, I just feel like that, I don't know how I'd be able to hide it. Like, I don't know. It's so part of like who I am now. And like, it brings me so much joy, and it helps me and it helps people. So like, I'm never going to hide the weed for the bag. You know what I mean? I did that day one. I was like, I don't care. And my manager even said to me, he's like, hey, just letting you know, like when you do this ad, my first weed ad I got, he's like, just letting you know, like this might cause, you know, some brands to not want to work with you, like certain family friendly brands. And I said, if they, you know, I'm a 28-year-old legal smoking adult, like if that's going to taint their brand, then I should be there anyways. Just how I probably look, they probably won't mess with me anyways.
I was very worried. I checked with all of our sponsors for the team, right? Because if it was just me, like
on a team, totally different.
Yeah. But I called every single one of the.
Like, hello.
He was like, hey, no, I mean, I wasn't scared, right? I was like, hey, listen, this was happening. What are your thoughts? And everybody was like, cool.
You're legal? It's legal?
It's in California. It's a legal place. Yeah. It's like, well, you know, whatever. There was obviously concern and right that I wasn't going to be pitching that like as good for gamers and shit like that, right? Because gaming still has like very young audience in certain games. So I was like, yeah, I mean, common sense, right? Like,
totally.
I took that into account when I was making my decisions, but I did. I was a little bit worried, but ultimately everybody was cool with it, and so far so good, right? Like I get an opportunity to help creators by sponsoring them, and you know, doing that too, which is super cool.
Super fun being able to help people and do what you love. Exactly.
Amen. And we're still looking at a very young industry in the cannabis from a media standpoint, right? Like we don't know who actually we kind of do, right? Like we already have some very big like YouTubers that do cannabis content, but like how much bigger are they going to get? Because they are going to get bigger, 100%.
Absolutely.
When it becomes less shadow banned on Instagram, less
when more states accept, when more states start legalizing too, that will change, and it already has changed so much. And I don't know. I'm just like every time I see someone post online that they smoke weed, I'm proud. I'm like, yeah. It's getting to that point where it's not something you just. I never feel ashamed ever. Ever, like I think drinking, like I love drinking, but like I think drinking is so much more like toxic than smoking weed. And so I'm like, when it gets to a day where it's all equal, I'll be really happy. And I know we're on that road, and it just takes some time.
It does. Not our next expansion plan is in Oklahoma, I mean, I wish that we could just go everywhere all at once.
Right.
But, obviously like baby steps, because I love this part of the business that I do. So for me, not tainting or not damaging this side of what I do is like mega, mega important.
Absolutely.
Where do you see like the cannabis industry going from an influencer standpoint?
Yeah.
Because there's so many,
there's so
items.
much.
Yeah.
There's so much. I think every day it gets more and more accepted into daily life that weed is not the drug that we used to think it is. So I think just with time, I think it's going to get more bigger and bigger and bigger and more just honestly on the same page of what drinking is. That's what I hope it to be. Do you know what I mean? Just your choice of what you want to do, drink, or whatever it is. I hope it gets accepted like that. I think, there's more podcasts every day. There's more shows every day. There's like, I smoke weed on Twitch now. And like when I first started doing it, people were like, to get banned.
Yeah.
I'm like 28 and I'm in California.
Yeah.
Which is like, there's no.
Yeah.
But it was scary to people. Like that stigma I want to change. I think the more that changes, I think the more we're going to see your favorite creators are actually stoners.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the amount of people that reached out when I made the announcement, like it was like peers, right? And industry folk. And I'm like, awesome. But the fact that, look, and I'm not mad at this, right? It's not a thing, but the fact that they DM me instead of, at me, right? Like it showed still. Like I feel like I wish that they had the freedom to just express themselves. As something that it is. Yeah. And as adults, right? Like the adult part is very important, right? Because you're choosing to do something and only you should be the judge of that, right?
Right.
Because
and drinking, I see everyone drinks on stream all the time and they have younger viewers under the age of 21. Like I just think if you're a good person and you're spreading, hey, I'm drinking, but I'm over 21, smoking, but I'm over 21 in a legal state. You're not saying break the law, kids. Mm-hmm. Guess what I'm doing? I'm breaking the law. No, I'm literally following the rules. And you can too when you turn that age.
Yeah. Twitch is interesting. Have you thought about, obviously with Fortnite having the largest concert ever, right? Mm-hmm. On the platform. Have you thought about doing something like that, like during COVID, to stream like a session?
Yeah, I mean, also Twitch had that really big DMCA issue as well, which kind of like throttled DJing because it made it really hard. Because for me to do a DJ set, I'd have to only get copyright-free music, which is, not majority of what you want to listen to. So that kind of halted that. But I did do a live session during COVID, which I thought was really cool. And I saw, we all saw the emergence of like every musician ever was like, get me on Twitch.
Yeah.
There was like a shortage of mics in LA. I remember like DJ Wax Motif, a good friend of mine, was like, give me your mic. I had like one last mic and he's like, can I please take it? I was like, of course you can, because all the mics in LA were gone because everyone wanted to stream because we were sitting at home every day. I had so many musicians hit me up asking, how do I do it? What do I do? Will I make money? Is this the thing? And I'm like, first, I'm sorry to break bubbles. You're not going to make a lot of money at first. And even if you're big on music, it's just it takes time. It's just like a baby, you need to care for it and give energy and effort into it. It's not like a hit viral song that happens. Yeah. And then so many of them, some of them stuck with it and now actually stream like me part-time, which is so cool to see. And some, were like, this is way too much work. Why am I doing this?
Yeah. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It is a bunch of work.
Welcome.
So are you going to continue that like post?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really cool. I think it's still ironing out like how musicians will make money from that. Like I still make more money exponentially from, live shows with tickets being sold. So I think like figuring out how to make them more profitable for the artist is going to be interesting, and we're trying to get in that lane. But I do think it's really cool. I think that everyone should have the opportunity to listen in on something and not have to physically go. I think that should be an option on any concert. So I would really love to see that in the future, like every big concert be kind of streamed. I feel like it's coming like that now. I feel like I see it's happening a lot.
How do you split your time between, passion number one and passion number two? Like whatever strikes?
It's hard. Yeah. Like each year is different. Like honestly goes by year basis. Like some years I have really heavy DJ touring years. Like 2 years ago, pre-COVID, I was touring more I've ever toured in my life. So I really had like 1 or 2 times a week stream, even sometimes big chunks, no streaming because I'm on the road. I tried the on the road streaming, but the technology really wasn't there to like, the internet went out. I just wasn't working. So I streamed very little, but then I have COVID where I streamed every single day. And then now I'm in a really good spot where I'm doing more live and singing, which is less touring than DJing. And so now I have this nice harmony where I'm kind of doing half and half right now.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, because you get to do it from home.
I get to do it from home.
Is that where you do your sessions from your studio?
Yeah, I mean, we are building our studio right now. We just moved into a house, yay, in LA. It was a lot of work, but we're basically building our dream studio, but it takes a lot of time. So I'm in and out of my friend's studio right now, but we're building ours. It's gonna be very cool.
Your boyfriend and yourself.
Yes.
Who's also
cool.
a DJ.
Who's also a DJ.
Yeah.
Keizo, yes.
Is that how you guys met?
Yeah, we met through music. He followed me on Twitter and thought I was cute, and I followed him back because I wanted to like see another musician. I was like, oh, cool, another guy in the space, and then we just met like that. And honestly, he smokes too now, and he's so not what you'd think a stoner would be. He's like, I'm very much a stoner energy. Like I'm very chill, whatever you would think typically, and he's the opposite, but he loves weed. And so I'm like, oh,
when you say the opposite, he's just super like energetic.
Yeah, he just
out,
always wants to go
active.
out. Oh yeah, exactly. I'm the homebody introvert. He's like, let's go out, let's do something, let's go. I don't want to sit around. I'm like, let's sit around, person. But he loves weed.
Opposites attract.
And he loves
the
weed.
yin and the yang.
Exactly. And he also cooks food. So think about this. I roll the J's.
Yeah.
He cooks the food. It's a very nice little.
That's the weirdest thing that I found lately on the internet that has blown my mind, and the amount of viewership that it gets. It's like camping videos. And all those camping videos, and that's what I like about YouTube, right? Like there's so many industries that are happening that you don't know about.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like camping, and I'm in the outdoor business. Like I just didn't see it the way that it is
when
now.
I'm stoned, TikTok is a dark place because there's the camping videos. I get sucked into these crazy camping vans that they maneuver into like houses and like storage box houses. And then you go to interior design TikTok and there's like the craziest houses ever. I'm just like, there's too much here for when I'm stoned. I'm like, do I go camping? Like, do I change my house? Like, which one do I do?
Yeah. What surprised me about TikTok is that at one point, and this is obviously like me confessing, a dude or a woman or something tells you, like, hey, just so you know, you've been scrolling for a very long fucking time. You should put it down. I always put my phone down.
That happens?
Yeah, you've never. Okay, you've never been on TikTok.
I've never gotten like the Netflix notification. Are you still watching?
Yeah,
never got that on TikTok.
Yeah.
How long are you going on there?
I'm literally trying to fall asleep just looking last night, and I'm like looking at the dude's like, hey, how about take a walk and get a cup of water or something? I was like, time to go
put your phone down.
I did, and I passed out. Like I took that. I'm like, such a good idea for them
nudge,
to add that in there.
My phone should just turn off at a certain time. It should just auto off.
Yeah,
nothing turns it on until the morning.
I was thinking of a way, right, to be on the treadmill and have just TikTok going at all times. But I'm like, I can't.
But what if it's what if you want to swipe and you can't get there?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it has to be automatic.
You have to do
and
head
it just
nod.
It quickly does it. Yeah, head nod would be good. That's such a good idea. Like, you got to invent that app because
like this, just from far away.
I'm like, I got to switch hands and on my thumb, and then I'm like, come on, I'm a professional e-athlete.
Get your thumbs ready. That's why you're on TikTok, just to practice. It's just thumb strengthening. I get it.
Yeah, no, but it is like good that they do that. They don't do that on Instagram. They don't do that on Twitter. Oh. And people like spend hours and hours.
Okay, wait, if you had to pick a social media,
Twitter for sure.
Twitter for sure. Me too.
Yeah.
I feel like the stoners all go on Twitter.
You think?
Instagram just is like, I don't go on it anymore. I don't really even look at people's stories anymore. Like I just don't really like the app.
The first one that I open is Twitter because that's like where business.
Also news too. Yeah, like I'm immediately gonna see something scary.
Right? Yeah. Ukraine's getting invaded this morning. But as I'm swiping up and I'm looking and I get done with Twitter, immediately I go to Instagram and then I do the same thing on Instagram. And then the second that I get lost in a reel on Instagram, that's when I'm like, wait, why am I watching fucking TikToks on Instagram? Let me go to TikTok. So that's when I go to TikTok and I
it's a 3 series.
Yeah.
It's a 3
that's
series. That's it. Yeah.
Facebook never.
Never.
Yeah.
Like I
don't think
like
for family.
Like sometimes I have businesses
extended family
ask me, like brands ask me to connect my Instagram, Facebook are one little baby. Yeah. So they asked me to go on Facebook to connect. And I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. Like I haven't been on Facebook since 1945. Yeah. Like I don't go there. It's like unforbidden land. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like scary there. Like I don't want to go there.
I just don't go there. It's just like not where I see social media as like a business, right? Like it's part of my job. Like I have to be in tune with this thing, period. I have to see trends. I have to see who's doing what. I have to know what to talk about if it's asked of me. So I look at that. So me going on a social media app to share moments with my family, extended family, I'm just like, it's not, like I'd rather text them.
Oh, 100%. And also it's funny because like explaining to family and friends, like my job, like they automatically assume I just love social media. I'm just like thinking all day, like, what am I going to post? I'm like, if I didn't make money from social media, I wouldn't be on social media.
Yeah.
Like it's a part of my job.
Yeah.
And it is a job. In my head, I'm not like every day like, like what am I going to post today? Yeah. I'm literally like, I gotta post something today for this, and I got this job, and I got this. I'm not ever like, I want to. And
I'm gonna clarify what you're saying. Okay, the connecting part with your fans,
different.
We're talking about the waste, like the wasted time that we spend on there. Yeah, like it gets to the point to where like if a family member, like sister, brother, or my brother is different, but like sister, my mom, Like if they DM me on Instagram, I'm like, why are they why are you bothering me at work? You know what I mean? I'm like, text me, it would be less invasive.
So
you know what I
funny.
mean? Which is the weirdest shit ever.
No, totally. Like that's exactly the same way. And like my mom will say stuff like, oh, I had to find out through Instagram what my daughter's doing. I'm like, Mom, it's literally my job.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like I just post it because I do it. It's my job. And then of course, like connecting with fans is a whole different scenario. I'm so thankful and gratitude. I have so much gratitude in my heart to have cool, like-minded people follow me. It's such a gift. And that's so special. And that bond's so special.
Yeah.
But I would never, like, if I could just have that.
No, you're talking about
posting,
as a user
yes.
of social media,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
that's it. The communication, the connection, one thing. The you consuming and wasting the time of it is what I find like.
Right, like people think
do.
I love like taking photos of myself all day. Like they think that's all I do. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like it's a job. I wake up, take photos for 6 minutes, post it. That's done. Moving on. Like it's not ever like you know what I want to do today? Just take pics. Just take pics. Like never.
No.
Yeah, never.
No. It takes. This is another thing that people that are aspiring and going for this thing, like it's more often than not what they think it is, right?
Totally.
It's like things that you would think were awesome traveling, for example, like become a pain in the ass because of the inconvenience. But you have to do it because it's part of the job.
Also having pressure like all day, like especially in this culture where we're really high sensitive right now, and we have a reason to be, but like. Knowing what to post, like if what your post is going to do well, if are people going to hate it? Are you going to accidentally do something really shitty? Are you going to be drunk and say something stupid? Are you going to, and all these people are watching you, or are you having a hard time? Are you really depressed right now? But you still have to act on, you still have to keep going. Because if you just disappear, that as a standpoint, as a brand, you can't just disappear and then show back up. Then fans there's a whole other slew of pressure that you're feeling where you have to be like yourself, but not to yourself, and share information, but not too much information, and stay private, not so private. There's been so many situations where I felt unsafe, and there's been so many scary situations because of social media, so many uncomfortable situations on social media, but it comes with the job, and like that's fine, but it's shitty. Yeah. There's a lot of shit you just don't realize.
Yeah. It's the same struggles that you go through in your job. Like, and I know this because I had a fucking corporate job for a long time before doing this. So I know both worlds, and it's like the same thing. You're always going to be working. Like you're actually doing the work, right? And it's not the glamour and all the shit always. It's nice, don't get us wrong, but it does come with its own thing. And the other thing is like when you go to work, you have a guaranteed paycheck. All you have to do is show up and do your work. Here, there's no one's paying you. You're paying yourself.
There's been many times in my career where I've sat down and fantasized about getting a normal 9-to-5 job where I can clock out at 5, not think about it, go home, get my check, have my health care, go to bed. Like, I know it sounds crazy saying that, but like there's been times where I haven't had that steady paycheck. I haven't known how I'm going to make rent. And on top of that, everyone's judging me as well online. So I'm like, oh shit, like, did I make the right choice here? Like, of course I'm so lucky, but this also comes with this like 24/7. Like I get calls at 2 a.m. sometimes that shows are canceled, and I have to post this or something has to happen. I'm like, it's like never ending, with fans, especially like sometimes I go to the grocery store, looking like a bag of turd, like in a bad mood. And I have, there's someone I have to meet, and I'm like trying to meet, and I'm uncomfortable in the space and setting, and I'm trying to buy groceries, and they're taking photos of me, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many times like that where I'm just like, sometimes it'd be nice if just no one know who I am. Yeah. And just go to bed at, work ends at 5 p.m., go home, eat dinner, work, do whatever I want, not talk to anybody. Sometimes that seems like a dream.
Yeah. And it is.
So there's always balance. There's always a side to a coin.
For sure. Your the rest of the year, what does that look like in terms of like, are you touring?
I have some live shows. I have one in Dallas, So What Festivals.
Every time you say live shows, you play the air guitar every time.
Because in a DJ culture, like some people say they're live but they're not in a band. Live. Yeah, they're like different type of live. So I'm really trying to emphasize that like I'm not a DJ. I'm like a band. I'm like a singer and an artist. But I have some live shows this year. I have a few DJ shows this year for fun. Some streaming stuff. Working on with you guys too. Like just trying to like build out like long-term brand partnership deals as well, and just focus on building it up. And I have a ton of music coming out. I have a song coming out tomorrow, actually, 9 p.m. tonight.
9 p.m.
Song. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know when this one's going live. So it already came out. The link to it is going to be in the description down below.
Exactly.
So if you haven't been enjoying it by now, then you get a treat.
Now you get to know.
Yeah.
An extra boost.
Sure. So you're going to see that boost.
I'm gonna see a huge boost. I'm gonna be like, whoa,
get
me back on there.
As a musician, obviously, like, do you like where does YouTube fill into your strategy? Like, does it?
I miss the YouTube train, dude. Like I say it to Tucker all the time. Like I wasn't a YouTube kid. I really wasn't. I watched like H3H3 back in the day, but I like missed that whole space. And when I was trying to stream on Twitch, I couldn't do both at once. I'm almost like I couldn't multitask that well. And I didn't really know what content I'd make on YouTube. I just didn't really understand the space. And so I just stuck to streaming, and that's what I did. You know, I don't know. I've just never been a YouTube kid, but I love YouTube, obviously. And I've watched, there's some certain creators I love now. I kind of got into it older, but I kind of missed the like content creation train on YouTube. I had too much shit.
Just for your own, I mean, I guess you have it, right, in digital form, like your shows and all that. Like, you don't record that and upload it just so you can come back to it like 50 years later and look at it. Nah, in the moment.
Sure. Some do, but every single one, dude. If I had to see every single one of my sets, I'd freak out.
Well, just upload them, and you don't know if you want to see them.
That's kind of true.
Yeah, like it's about.
I have music videos up there and stuff like that, but it's not something I'm like trying to make money on. I guess it's like I just post on it because I think it's cool to share my music videos and my content. But I'm not like ever checking how much money I don't make money from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just post on there just to like connect with people.
Yeah.
I did vlogs for a minute, but it was too much work, honestly. But like doing Twitch and music.
I'm still vlogging,
bro.
I vlogged every single day consistently for 2 years. Miss call 7 days.
Are your days really interesting?
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
Mine aren't. I feel like my weekdays are just like a lot of weed, a lot of cooking, a lot of cleaning my dog.
Cooking is like a massive thing on YouTube also.
But I think my vlogs would get boring.
Jericho's cooking streams?
Shitty cooking? Of course.
Jericho's pesto shitty cooking?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think if I started vlogging, my entire life would be online, and it would just be like I would just like start missing. Yeah. I wouldn't even know what's real or not.
I've dialed it down, and I have it perfect. I have it down. I've done it for so long.
You have a system.
Yeah, I just literally I'm gonna film from this time to this time when I'm at work. If there's my teammates are around, if I'm doing anything.
What if
cool,
you have nothing to do one day?
No, that never happens. I can always go to the Hecz quarters, and there's always streamers there. There's always
something going on.
Yeah, always.
See, I'm the opposite. I have to have days where I literally don't move. Like I just on my couch smoking weed all day. Those are like recharging days for me.
I don't have those.
Try it one time.
I don't think I can. I actually, you know what? I actually just did. I had COVID 5 weeks ago.
Okay. A forced break.
Yeah, it was like a forced break. It was good. It wasn't good. I felt like shit.
Do you watch movie? What'd you do to fill your time?
I closed my fucking eyes because I had such a big headache and pressure behind my eyes, and that was fatigue. I
got COVID last year, and I was sick for a couple of days, but the headache was the brutal one. Like that was what killed me.
It knocked me out for 7 days. So as soon as I land, my wife says you got to sleep at the garage. So I had to go where I keep my boat, and I'm like. I was cool with it. At the same time, I was like, in sickness and in health, baby. In sickness,
baby,
and in health.
And in health.
Yeah. And she's like, sorry, you got to go. So I quarantined by myself. And then after that.
On the boat? Were you in the boat?
No. I was upstairs in the mezzanine. It's like, it looks exactly like this, but up there is like a little living room area.
Okay, cool.
And the boat's.
I'll say, if you were in the boat, that's bold.
No.
She's like, honey, have a good time in there.
No, it wasn't a good time either. Anyway, neither here or there.
You were forced to do nothing.
Yeah, I was forced to do nothing, and I didn't like it. And I couldn't watch. I took the first 3 days I took meetings, and then immediately after that I was just like, I'm out.
You're out. Yeah, you're a zoot. Yeah.
Couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like mental fatigue was crazy when I had COVID. I just like sat there like a zombie. I was just like, please help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he stick around? I would have left. I told her. I told my wife, I'm like, the second that you get COVID, you are out of here. You are.
Me and Hayden, like he's gotten it, and I've been like, I have it. Like I'm just assuming I'm assuming I have it.
Yeah.
Like, and also we lived in a loft for 2 years with no doors.
Yeah.
So our doctor was like, yeah, you can quarantine, but there's no doors.
Yeah,
so you're really sharing the same air.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like, fuck. So every time he got it, I got it. Every time I got it, he got it.
Yeah. No, I was fine with it, right? Like I don't want to get her or my daughter sick, right?
Of course not.
Who's gonna take care of me?
But you're waiting. You're waiting.
Right? Like, no, I'm saying it's like if they're both sick, who's gonna care for me on a daily basis?
Yeah, who's gonna bring me soup?
No, not even when I'm sick. Just on a regular day-to-day basis. Like who's gonna help me be me?
I don't know.
Any closing comments? Any shout outs you want to give?
I love weed, and weed's great. Thanks for having me on. My name's Cray.
Yeah, and her information will be in the description down below. So make sure to check it out.
Yeah.
Especially the song that just came out tomorrow.
Yes.
But as you're watching
But
a
it's
couple of weeks
future.
ago.
It's doing amazing. It's charting. I hear it's doing really well.
So did I.
Yeah.
From my future me. Anyway, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Thank you.
Amazing, dude.
That was awesome.
Super easy.